Hey guys, I wanted to make this video for you. If you know anything about these older Volvo CEMs, they're kind of a pain in the ass to get to the chip on them, to get any kind of key data off it, for add keys or all keys lost. This is a CEM out of a '01 S60, and I found it in a junkyard last week. But I found a device. I've had it for a little while. It took me a while to find a CEM to actually work on and use it. But there's a device I found online that will allow you to read the key data or read the data off the flash chip without actually having to desolder anything. I'm not going to show you. You can, if you've got the, if you're here, I can imagine you already have the resources to look up the desoldering process for the chip. But if you, just to give you a brief rundown, it's a pain in the ass because it's covered by a metal cover, first of all, that you have to get off in some way. And then to add, the actual chip itself is very sensitive to heat because the body of the chip is plastic. So you can damage the internal structure of the chip itself by just trying to desolder it with a hot air gun. So rather than do that, you could do this instead with this device. What you'll need is some benchtop power, which I'm providing right now with my G-Box, which you can use. It's hooked up to 12 volt power just through a connector that you can't see back behind my whole messy bench setup here. And there's a couple of ports on the front of the module that you can hook some leads into to give 12 volt power to the module, which is what it wants to wake it up and actually program anything. Now for the wiring itself, I have a video I'm going to link to you for from the maker of this device that I'll show you here in a second. And it's going to show you where to wire in for power and where to wire up the device itself on the board in order to read the data. Now the device is called, it's from a company called USB JTAG U-Link. The USB-NT link, I think, is the newest version of it. That's what this is. And as far as locksmith stuff is concerned, it can do EEPROM reading too. So if you have other kinds of cables that you want to hook up to the JTAG side of this, which is what this connector is, you could potentially read EEPROM data with the program that it comes with or that you use for this. But it doesn't have any kind of way to translate that data and program any keys, so it's just for reading EEPROMs. It's kind of like an Orange 5. But I'll link you to the wiring that you'll need to connect this device up to the CEM here and the points on the CEM. If you just want to read the data, all you'll need is the device itself and the laptop with the program. But if you want to actually program anything, and that's why you're here, you will need a 150 ohm resistor as well, wired up to a couple points on the board. And again, wiring will be in the other video. This is not a wiring video. I just wanted to make this mostly to show you what to do in the program, because what I find looking around the net for people making comments on the maker's video for how to wire up and program this, and just people on forums and stuff as well, is what happens when you get the data out of this device using this method. Because when it comes out, it's not in a format that's actually compatible with any programmer that you would want to use to generate a key for it. So this is the program itself, U-Link NT 1.52. You can, and there's the website up there again. You can get this device for like $50, and then I paid a little bit extra for another connector that was just bare leads. But if you have an electronic supply store near you, like a Radio Shack that hasn't gone out of business by now, you can probably find JTAG cables that will connect to that just fine. But whatever you want to use to wire up to it, this is the program you use. And once you first open it, and I'm doing this freehand with my phone, so please excuse any jitteriness. You can straight up search what you want for. What you want is Volvo CEM. It'll be right there. Not Volvo 25. It's the CEM. And again, this device does other stuff. So if you like to mess with electronics and know anything about JTAG, I only know a tiny little bit. You can use this for other stuff. You can see on the left there all the sorts of devices that it will do. EEPROM as well. But we want the CEM, so we'll go Volvo CEM, and that will open it up for us. Now we're already wired in, and down there you can see USB connected, BDM on, so that means we're good to go. So we'll ID it first. That's that detect chip right there. you'll see on the left there, that's a bunch of different files for information that I've read off of this and modified already. So I've done this already. You're getting the magic of television version of this, where I'm just going to run you through it streamlined. So found address, if we go, and then we'll want to read it. So there's your read command right there, read from chip. It'll do it real quick, because this is the updated version of this is pretty fast. And then we can go in, and there's our data. I'm not going to scroll through all this, but you can see it did actually read data. There's some actual data for you right there, some values. So this is the data that we're getting out of this right now is data that I have already modified. I've already done this to add a key, so what we just read is the complete file. But it doesn't matter. That's what it would look like if it came out. So you read the data, and then you took it, and you want to use this in a programmer like your Tango. You can use this. You can do this in Autel, and I'll show you where to go to do that in just a second. But this is what you'll get out of this device. If you try to take this file and save it now, you should save this now as it is, because this is the format that this needs to go back into the device in order for it to work, or in order for it to work properly in the car, I should say. So you should save this now in the format that it's in. And once you save it, you're going to go down here to this box, click so that you can get your text prompt up. And then the command you're going to want to put in is HILO, H-I-L-O, and then your target. Your target in this case is the device that we're reading, which is the 28F400 right above there that you see in that tab, 8F400. What this is going to do is going to reformat this data that you're looking at and invert it. I couldn't tell you what that means technically. I don't know enough about binary and reading files like this, but it's going to reformat this so that we can put it into a programmer and actually use it. So HILO, and then the address of the target device, 28F400. And when I hit this, you're going to see everything's going to, that F right there move at the top left corner moved around, everything flipped around. So now this file, you can save a second file and name it as, I named this one of these is named as flipped. The original one is test module there, so that's the raw data that I got out and saved initially. Now this is in a format to where you can put it into a different programmer. So you can take this file, save it, put it in your Tango, whatever, or Autel. If you can email this to Autel, or email it to your, the janky way that I do this is I email it to myself, and then I download the file from my own email in Autel in order to get the file that I want. Now, Autel itself can't read this, can't read the module. I tried to find an option in there somewhere in the menus for it to read the device itself. It can read the chip, but it doesn't tell you how or what adapter to use, so I can't say I really trust it to be able to do that. But it can write a key via the dump, so it can actually modify the file in order to be able to make you a key and make a new binary file for you. So once you get your file, email it to yourself, do whatever you want, put it in your programmer. I understand that some like VVDI2, I think, has a function in it in order to be able to automatically decrypt or flip the data or format it in a way that it wants to be able to read. But this is the way you would do it if you don't have something like that. So once you get the formatted data correctly, save the file, mark it correctly, go into here to S60. Here's your target device right here that we're working on, 28F400. That's a flash memory. It's not actually an EEPROM. And then we'll load our data. Now, through the magic of television, this is actually not the... Automatically, Volvo is going to take, or excuse me, Autel is going to take you into its bin file folder that it automatically saves to. If you downloaded it off your email, you're going to have to go all the way back up to the top level and then go to downloads and then find your file, which is this one here. Now this file I'm going to show you here is the completed file that I've already done. So this would be, imagine what I'm loading up for you right now is your initial read off of the device, right? So imagine this is your initial read. You end up with 4 keys, and there's a total of 6 spaces. And it doesn't let you overwrite keys as far as I can tell. You probably could. I don't know how that would work, but you got 6 total spaces for new keys. Now this file, when I first got it, was 3 keys. So I have successfully added a key number 4 already. Once you get in here, the process is straightforward. You just do the regular old make key right there. You can't do one-touch processing, and the operation guide is not really helpful. It actually doesn't show you very much. But you just hit make key, connect your programmer. You can use a super chip. It's a MegaMOS 48, it says right there. And then once you're done, save, email your file back to yourself, or however you want to do it to get it back to a position to where you can get it back into this program. And then once you get your file from your programmer back into your program, you need to do the same command again to reformat it to be able to program back into the chip. So we're doing the right back now. So same thing in reverse. You're going to use the same command. If you want to just leave this open because it's not a very long process to do, you just hit up. It'll do the same thing. Copy the command for you. Hit enter, and it'll reformat the data. Now that the data has been reformatted, you're going to go up. And you can do erase if you want. It's going to erase already when you write the chip. So we'll go back down to the operation screen so that you can see what it's actually doing. We'll verify we got the right file, which is key add final right there. It doesn't really matter. I got all kinds of data. I could do whatever I want with this. But once you get your properly formatted file in, where you have used the hilo command on the file that you got from your programmer, you'll hit write. And it'll take a minute. It'll ask you if you're sure you want to do that. Make sure you're still connected to power, you're still all wired up correctly on your module, and make sure you got that resistor in there, otherwise you're not going to be able to program anything. And it'll start going. It'll say erase first, because you have to erase in order to program anything on this. It's going to take a minute. I can actually hear stuff happening on the module as it works. Program pass, no further programming needed. So now there's a verify command as well if you'd like to verify, and it says it's fine. If you took this data out now, did the same thing, you'd find that there was a key added into the system. Because this is a junkyard module, I can't put it back in the car and determine if I've done anything wrong, but I've pulled out the bin files and compared them in other programs and found the key addresses, and that's all that's been modified in the data, is that it's added the new key data into where the key addresses are, the strings of data for the key are. So I hope this helps you. I never ever wanted to have to desolder one of these chips on this because it just seems like a pain in the butt. Again, I will link you to the USB JTAGS video where he shows you the actual wiring diagram to wire this up. You can find it online as well. And then again, if all you got's a G-Box, you can just use your G-Box for power. It's got the ground and the 12 volt. Just be sure to have good power coming off of your bench, and your Autel can program this just fine. It cannot wire up the device, but just be sure. The biggest thing is use the hilo command in this program, and that will reformat the device, or excuse me, that'll reformat the data in the way that it needs to be in order for any of your programs to be able to read it, programmers to be able to read it rather. Yeah, so look for the link below for the wiring, and I hope this helps you out.